Hello Internet, this is BoneCarlos coming to you live with another video game review. This week we're going to be taking a look at Dungeon Siege 3, and it's going to be brought to you by Mr. Ruin F20, who made the suggestion. Big shout out and props and bump fist to him. But before we get started, I'd like to point out that if we have any kind of video game that you'd like for me to review, any game at all, leave a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. Just remember, people, no AAA games, no blockbusters, nothing of that sort, so I'm not going to be doing anything like Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare 3, or anything of the sorts. Just underappreciated or underperforming games. Speaking of games, we have a game going on right now. Yeah, I just did that. Oh well. It's going to be pretty much a dungeon crawler-esque loot grinding kind of game, and as you saw from the characters, you get to pick between three very different characters. My first go through, I went with Katarina, because she was smexy. And when I was recording it, when I decided to record, I decided to bump it up to heroic, or the highest difficulty there was, and I went with the sword guy. There's always a sword guy in one of these games, because he just seems fun when I picked him up in the first go around. And when I say pick him up, yeah, you can't have two players on the screen, but in multiplayer you can have up to 4. And that's really where the game would shine. I managed to get onto a multiplayer game where there was 4 people playing on at once, and that's really where it's at. This is definitely a co-op game. It's most definitely that, and it's most definitely fun if you have four players just smashing through dungeons left and right, killing orcs and goblins alike. But if you're just gonna go ahead and go with a single player experience like I did in my first go around, it's a fairly fun game in and of itself. I will have to say though, this is the biggest thing that I give you guys who's ever gonna plan on picking this up. If you want any sort of a challenge, go ahead and put it on the hardest difficulty. If you just want to just breeze through this, no problem, put it on medium and you'll be fine. I would advise that you go on harder difficulty though. It's just that much more fun. The few hours that I played it for on the harder difficulty, going through it again was just that much more fun. Normally I would say work your way up, but if you just want to have a little bit more fun, go ahead and go with the harder difficulty, because that's when the path that you choose to level up your character along your abilities and your innate abilities, really, that's where you really got to think about it, and it really pays off and it shines out a lot more. So there's that. Like I was saying before, this is dungeon crawler. It is a loot fest kind of thing, and the game rewards you aplenty with that. There are plenty of different weapons that it drops tons of weapons. Most of the time it's useless crap. Most of the time you can equip it and it will give you a buff in a certain area, but really you're not going to want to do that because overall it doesn't go with your main theme of what you're trying to get the game. So basically what I'm trying to say is there's plenty of items to go with, so it rewards you very well in that aspect of the game. The story, it's there. I mean, it's there. It's nothing too spectacular. I mean, save the kingdom, blah 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 blah. Nothing we've heard or seen or done 1,000 times before. But what I really do enjoy about this game is that your actions that you do in this game, because every once in a while you have an action, whether you let this character live or die, you do this or that, yada yada yada. At the end of the game, it wraps up the story and it tells you in a narrative form, and every decision that you made is reflected on the end story. So if you let person A live, it'll give you and at the end of the game, it'll give you what happened because of why you left this person live. Whereas if you kill them, this is what happened instead. Which, boom, thumbs up. I love games like that. I know it's just a little thing, but love it when games do that. It really makes it seem like you were part of this story instead of just witnessing it. So that's pretty much what I have with positive. I mean, the sound is great, graphics are great. There's nothing too spectacular. I mean, I already went over the combat system is smooth. I never really found any instance where it's like, man, the game really screwed me over on this one. No, not really. When all the deaths happened, if I had a death on normal difficulty, it was because of my own stupidity. When I had it on harder, when I was playing it through in this game, when I was playing it on this harder difficulty, they were really, it's like, oh man, I should have blocked in this instance, I should have done this instead of that. So that's another thumbs up for the game. There were I wish there were a couple of instances where what I didn't like about this game, especially consider the fact that it's very linear. I mean, the game just plops you and makes you go from point A to point B. There's no deviation on that whatsoever. There's pretty much my qualms on that for that. But otherwise, this is just a really great loot fest. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, it is really short. I mean, just exceedingly short if you play it on normal difficulty, which is why I shut up, cat. I don't want to talk to you. Which is why I suggested playing on harder difficulty, because on normal difficulty I breeze through this in under 10 hours. That's a day killer if you have nothing better to do. I'm sure if you put it on harder, you'll tack on at least 5 more hours for that. But it's still fun to go through and play it as different characters, because you get a different story as playing as them. So there it is. Those are my pros and cons. There's not many cons to this game. It's just solid overall, very well game. And I like to tip my hat off to Mr. Ruin F20 for turning me onto it. I almost wanted to buy it. The only reason I say almost is because I just got a ton more games to play. Honestly, Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3 is coming up, so I'm definitely gonna be setting my sights in on that one. Oh, actually, it depends on when this video posts up. Modern Warfare 3 might already be up. So my final review, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Instead of saying buy, rent, or sell, or buy, rent, or just pass it up, I'm gonna go ahead and say whether you should buy it or not, and for how much money you should buy it on, or if you just rent or buy it. So just a little bit, pretty much what I've been doing without doing any more research on my part to bore you guys. So I would definitely recommend you buying this game if you could find it for under 15 bucks. If you find it for under 15 bucks, it's a great game to play. Overall, it's just fun, especially if you have friends to do it. Under 15 bucks, I would have no problem. Even 20 bucks, really. Anything more than that, I would pass it up. So yeah, 20 and below, go ahead and buy it. If not, go ahead and rent it. If you can't find it for under that much money, rent it. I would definitely recommend this to any kind of gamer out there, because it's just fun. It's just fun, a game. I love it. So that's it. I'm gonna get on out of here so I don't bore you guys too much. Remember, if you have any kind of games that you'd like me to review, down below, leave a comment. I'll see what I can do. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed.